What's up everyone? In today's video I'm going to show you how to improve the bass on the stock Sony stereo system in the ST3 and ST2 I believe. This is the polyfill mod. I'm sure some people are familiar with it. I read about this on the forums where you can fill the box with polyfill and it'll kind of help flatten out the bass curve, which helps it sound less like muddy, and it should make the bass a little bit more defined, and some people say that it will make it hit a little bit harder. So I figured since it's cheap and I already had some, I might as well do it and show you how to do it while I'm at it. But basically the concept behind it is that the polyfill, I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but this is just what the post said, is the polyfill will kind of slow down the sound waves, and it'll make the sound waves hit the side of the box slower. So it kind of tricks the subwoofer into thinking that it's a bigger box. So let's go ahead and get started. First, just take off this bottom carpet piece, and then we can get to the bolts to take the box out. So now that that is out, you can get to the bolts down here. You can kind of do this just by moving this foam right here out of the way. I have this little net here that you can just move that out of the way like that. And there's wires on here, so you can't really just like take it completely out, but you can kind of shift it to get out of the way and get to the bolts down there. This is connected by 10mm bolts. There's one over here on this side, and then there should be two underneath this foam piece right here. And then I'm pretty sure that's how the box will come off. And once the box is off, we have T25 Torx bits to get the subwoofer out, to get to the hole. And then on the back, there should be an 8mm bolt. And that's how we will get out the subwoofer, and then we can fill it with the polyfill. So I ended up actually having to cut some of the foam underneath here, right here, to get to the bolt right underneath this. And I also removed the spare tire just so I could have a little bit more room to work. But now you can see the box is loose and it comes out. And the last thing you need to do is unplug it. Super simple, just like that. And then the whole box will come out. Now that the subwoofer is out of the car, all you have to do is loosen this bolt on the back, which is really tight for some reason. And this will get the subwoofer out once you remove the T25 Torx screws on the front. Just like that, that is off. And now you can flip it over and remove all of the T25 Torx screws that go all the way around here. Now that all the screws are out, you can just take off this plate right there, and the subwoofer will be able to be lifted to the side, and then just rest that down. You don't want that hanging on its own weight. And here we have the empty box, you can see. So now just take your polyfill, and the measurement on the forum said 4 to 5 ounces of polyfill, but you don't want this to be packed with polyfill. You don't want it to be super dense, because then you'll just get like a muffled sound and it won't even help. So you kind of want to fluff it out and make it light and fluffy when you put it in there, so that it doesn't. You also want to put it in the other side too, where the like the empty space to the left of the actual subwoofer. You can see I'm just kind of fluffing this out and kind of making it light so it takes up the whole space. So just like that, that should be good. And now just kind of work it over into the other side of the box. And then now I'm just going to add little fluffs of this in here just to fill up all of the space. And you can always just take it out. I'm going to plug it in and test it before I put everything back together just to make sure it doesn't sound too muffled. If it sounds too muffled, you can take some out, and that should help with that issue. And also be sure to leave enough right here for you to attach the subwoofer back in there. So that should be about enough right there. So I'm going to put the sub back in, just kind of let the wires bend in there how they were in the first place. And I'm going to align the screws and put this plate on. And then I'm just going to put 2 of them in just to hold it in place. So now whenever everything is put back together, you can put it back in the car and test it to make sure it sounds better and you didn't make it worse. If it sounds worse, you can always take it out. So I'm going to go ahead and test mine to make sure it's right. I ended up having a little bit too much to start with, so I took it back apart and thinned it out a little bit, and now I put it back together. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back into the car and give my final thoughts on it. So I put the sub in and got everything all connected back together and tested it after I had taken some of the polyfill out. And I was actually kind of surprised. It does make a noticeable difference. The bass kind of hits a little bit harder, and it's kind of more crisp and separated, and it definitely sounds better. I like it a lot better. And this was free for me and pretty cheap if you don't already have polyfill or some kind of stuffing. But it ended up working out pretty good, and it was a pretty easy thing to do, so it's a fun project to do if you want to improve your audio. So please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.